Hi, in the previous video we had actually seen how backpropagation works when we are dealing with regression type of data. Okay, in this video we are going to see how backpropagation works for classification use cases. Okay, now suppose we are here to differentiate between an image of cats or dogs. Okay, so we have to classify the image of cats and dogs, and for simplicity what we will do, basically we have the entire data set. Suppose we have 1,000 images right now, and in those 1,000 images we have to specify all the images. Okay, so this is the entire data set and it has to train itself. So what we do, for simplicity, we just take the first image of our data set. For example, this is our first image. Now for computer to be able to read the image, it has to be converted into numbers. Okay, so computer does not understand the image, it can understand only numbers. So we will convert this into the pixel intensity, right? And since this is a color image, then we will have to generate something like this. We have to generate three matrix, one for each color of R, G and B. Okay, so each pixel is converted into three color channels of RGB and representing the intensity of each color at a pixel. Now as you can see, our data is in 2 dimensions. Okay, and the type of network that we are using till now has only 1 dimension. Okay, so what we do, we use the data in neural networks and we need to flatten the matrix. Okay, so what we do, we actually flatten the matrix, something like this, and basically what we do is we just stack all the columns one after the other. That is just what we do, we flatten the matrix. Okay, and there are a lot of values in this matrix obviously, and we are, for the sake of explanation, we are just considering 2 values. Okay, let's say the 2 values that we have, the first 2 values that we have in our matrix is 35 and 19. Okay, these are basically intensity, if you can relate. Now let's consider a neural network. The first thing that we will have in neural network is the number of features. For current example, we are just taking 2 features, which is 35 and 19. Okay, we have 35 and 19, and then we have the hidden layer, and then we have the output. In the output there will be 2 neurons now, because we have to classify between cats and dogs, and the first neuron will be assigned dog and second neuron will be assigned cat. Okay, and our output layer will actually generate the probability of how many chances, basically how much it thinks that a certain neuron is certain images of a dog or certain images of a cat. Okay, okay, so this is our entire structure. The connections are weighted, the neurons have their bias, and we have 2 types of output. Okay, now the activation function that we are going to use is sigmoid. As I had already said, whenever you need a classification, whenever you need a probability between 2 possibilities, 2 or more possibilities, you use a sigmoid function, because the output of the sigmoid function is actually a probability which lies between 0 and 1. Okay, so this is the y, this is the sigmoid function, this is the value of z that we have. Okay, so why do we use sigmoid function? We want the probability from 0 and 1 for image of cat and dog. Sigmoid function outputs between 0 and 1. So let's start with the first iteration. First thing we do, we randomly assign weights and biases. All right, so we have assigned randomly weights and biases. So these are the weights and biases that we have assigned. Now we will start with the forward pass. In the forward pass, what will happen is 2 steps. First thing, we will calculate z. Z is equal to summation of wixi, where I is from 1 to m plus b, right? And then we will feed this z into the sigmoid function. We will calculate y is equals to f of z, where f is a sigmoid function. So these are the 2 things that we need to do in the forward pass for each neuron. So for example, the first neuron, we calculate w1, x1, w2, x2 and b. We have this value, and then we feed this value inside the sigmoid function, and we get value s1. Similarly, this is what we do for the other neuron, and then we pass these values to the output neurons, and in the output neurons we calculate the same way w1, x1, w2, x2 bias, and then we feed that value into the sigmoid function, and then we generate these two values. And now these two values are actually the prediction that we have generated. Okay, and these are the predictions that we have generated, and these are if you add both of them, you can see that they come equal to 1, and the probability of all the events should be equal to 1. So this is very perfectly working. And we calculate the error as from the last section we had seen. The consolidated error is actual minus predicted ka whole square, and we sum all the errors. So similarly, this is what we will do. First thing, that the prediction that we have generated is 75%. We are saying that the image is of a dog, but it was of a cat. Okay, and 25% we are saying that the image is of a cat, but it was of a cat only, but the prediction is saying that the image was of a dog, but it was not true. So the error that we calculate is actually the probability of output 1 should have been 0, and then we have 7, it should be 0.75. okay, 0.75 ka whole square plus 1 minus 0.25 ka whole square, because the probability of output 2 should have been 1. And then we calculate the error, and the error that we have is 1.14. Now the above process goes on till the W and B are optimized to recognize dog and cat. So this process will keep on going on. We will then do the back propagation, then we do the forward pass, then we do the back propagation, then we do the forward pass. So this process will keep on going on until we have achieved the optimum values of W and B. Now the thing is, right now in the entire data set where we are having 1,000 images, we had just taken first image, and also from that first image we had just taken the starting two values. Okay, so we had just taken a little shiver of the data that is presented to us. Okay, so imagine if our neural network is to train on that amount of data, what type of results it will provide. Okay, so that is what makes deep learning such efficient. Okay, so simply if we were doing classification using linear decision boundary, then we would have achieved something like this. Some pink points are here, some green points are here. Okay, but using deep learning models, we are able to achieve a much better complex decision boundary. Okay, and the accuracy of this decision boundary is about 98 to 99%, which is extremely good. All right, so with this we come to the end of backpropagation. We have discussed the backpropagation. From the next video we will start convolutional neural networks, also known as CNN.